You already know what time it is. We are back with Girl Talk Part 5. If you're a regular here, then you know that Girl Talk is the time where I ask you all your deepest dilemmas and problems on my Instagram. I collate them all, organize them into kind of each situation or each category of problem, whether it be dating, sex, relationships, self-development, growth, family, friends, cutting people off, heartbreak, all of these things. And we just sit and we get really, really cozy and we have a one-on-one chat where I just talk a little bit more casually about how I would go about these problems, what I think that you should do, just so we can all walk away feeling like we are heard, feeling like we know how to approach our problems and what we're struggling with. If you didn't get the chance to ask a question for this episode of Girl Talk, not to worry, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at tamkaur and then go and click on my broadcast channel because I regularly ask questions for my podcast videos, for my YouTube videos, for what you want to see on my vlog channel and all sorts of stuff over there, so don't miss out. In today's edition of Girl Talk, we're going to be talking all things relationships and dating, as we usually do, as well as self-love and healing. And then right at the end, I'm going to go through all of the self-development questions you all asked me, and we are just going to learn so much today. I can feel it. Before we get into it, be sure to check out all of my links below in the description where you can check out my Instagram and TikTok where I upload daily, my second YouTube channel where I show you vlogs of my daily life, how I stay productive, how I spend my weekends, my relationship, all sorts of stuff, along with my podcast, Self-Obsessed, where we are focused on becoming more self-obsessed, more confident, more self-loving, more self-caring, and then finally, my newest project, the Self-Obsessed newsletter is now live and launched and you can subscribe via the description below this video. This is a fortnightly dose of all of the advice and exclusive tools and links to things that I use, lessons that I've learned that week that I'll be sharing with all of you. So be sure to check it out. And finally, I want to say a big thank you to Notion who have kindly sponsored this video. Now, Notion is actually a platform that I use daily and have been using daily consistently for about a year and a half. I use it to communicate with my managers. I also use it to communicate and plan content with my assistant. So I have all of these different workplaces and all of these different systems, which really allows me to track and plan every single area of my life and stay on top of all of the projects, all of the channels, all of the brand deals that I've got going on all at once. It is honestly such an integral part to me staying organized and productive every single day. I honestly don't know what I would do. Like the fact that I can script out all of my videos, plan everything whilst having all of my team members in the same space so we can collaborate on it and communicate on it is a game changer. And it's been so useful to me that I wanted to tell you all about the new Notion AI. I've already been able to use this and so far it has saved me so much time in writing up video concepts for my assistant because I can just click the little AI button and it summarizes what my video is about, comes up with a quick description so my assistant knows exactly what I'm talking, exactly where my head is at, and that way I just get to be more efficient in my day. But also it can now connect to Slack and Google Drive, which, by the way, if you're a content creator like me, lifesaver. Like if you use those programs on a daily, this is a game changer now that Notion has integrated it all. Notion AI can keep up with all of your Slack discussions, it knows all of your project updates, and it can even remember your Google slide presentations. Like how insane is that? Not to mention, Notion AI can also analyze image and file attachments, which means, again, you can basically cut your workload in half by asking Notion AI to analyze a certain file, document, or image and ask it to create a work-back plan based on that campaign brief file, for example, and then prioritize all of the actions that you need to complete first. And it will literally read through, analyze that file, and give you all of the key pointers without you having to do it yourself. But my absolute favorite feature is the fact that Notion pulls AI knowledge to essentially act as your very own personal assistant. So you can go onto Notion and literally ask, what are the best practices for creating a viral YouTube video? And there you have it. Notion will literally give you the answer. So you can get started with Notion for free. I highly recommend. I've been using it for years now and it's such a game changer and such a core part of every single day of my work. And if you're interested with everything I said about Notion AI, you can also get started with that for only $10 a month using the link in the description. Right, let's get into it. Chapter number 1, relationship and dating dilemmas. This is often the juiciest part of any girl talk and I have all of my questions right here on my laptop. And the first one was, how does limerence affect your self-worth? And I'm also going to link this into another question that was asked, which I feel like is very similar. And this is, how do you get over someone you haven't dated? Two things I hear all the time, very, very common. For those of you who don't know, limerence is romantic obsession. It's often one-sided. It involves putting somebody on a pedestal. It's an infatuation with another person. You know, you're not in a relationship with them. You haven't dated them. Now that you know exactly what limerence is, let me tell you that now you know it is so far from what real love is. Because love isn't about this person's gonna complete me, this person's gonna make me happy. Love is when two fully whole, complete, healed, secure individuals come together to experience life together. They're not trying to give each other anything. They're not trying to fill holes in each other's lives because they've already worked on themselves individually. And they don't need to be perfect because they can be in that relationship and be working on themselves regardless. And so limerence can really affect your self-worth because you're not even first place in your life anymore. Not even. You are putting somebody else first in your life and it's not even reciprocated because there's no relationship, there's no dating. You think this person is so perfect and you're so obsessed with them and they don't even think the same way about you. See, I experienced limerence a lot. In my teen years, I had crushes all the time. I got very obsessive about it. And looking back, I have not experienced limerence in many, many years. I consistently used to experience it then because I had a lot of free time, which meant that my mind could run away with these fantasies as much as it wanted to. I had nothing filling my day. I had no purpose. I had no direction. I had no plan. Your mind is going to float off to these places to have a distraction, to have some kind of purpose. It will find it in other people, in external things, even though it doesn't serve you, and it can in fact bring you down. But the thing is, this is not the time to feel badly about yourself because you see all of that focus and time and passion and obsessive energy you're pouring into them. That's actually a little bit of a green flag that you possess all of that obsession. All we have to do is come up with a plan to take that same obsessional energy that you possess and funnel it into something that is now going to benefit and uplift you and get you to the life of your dreams. For example, start a project, start a side hustle, figure out your traveling plan. If you want to see the world, what jobs do you need to get? How are you going to save in order to get there? Maybe your number one goal in life is to become financially free. Let's start picking up those books. Let's start taking those courses. Let's start watching those YouTube videos on how to do that. Get so obsessive with becoming the best at whatever you want to be, whatever you want to learn, and however you want to experience and live life. How exciting is that? Maybe we can redirect that obsessional energy into the hobbies we want to have so that when we get older, we are going to have this bank of skills that we are amazing at, whether it's learning an instrument, knowing how to do crochet, being an artist, or maybe it's just going to be focused on self-discovery, on self-development. That is what I found, and I focused so much of my obsessional energy into, to the point that it literally became my career because I knew so much about it and I funneled so much of my time and focus on it that now I can get on the internet and talk about it and write a book about it and teach people about it. And also going back to your question about, how does limerence affect self-worth? It's so dangerous because yes, not only are you putting this person on a pedestal and you're obsessed with them and you're thinking about them all the time, but you're also reminded about the fact that you still don't have them. Of course that's going to get you down. Of course that's going to start to destroy your confidence because you're like, well, I'm thinking about this person all the time and I want them so bad. Why am I still not getting them? But what you need to remember is all of that love, all of those amazing qualities that you see in them do not come from them. They come from you. The only way that they could possibly come from them is if you were in a relationship with them for a long time, you consistently got to know them, you learned every insignificant detail of what makes them them, you understood them, you had had deep conversations with them, you knew their life, you were in their life, you met the other people in their life, you understood their past and their present and where they want to go in their future. You don't know that. All you know is what you see and what you choose to believe and all of the thoughts that you accept about them. Where is that coming from? You, your heart, your beliefs, your mindset. All of that love and light and beauty that you see in another person is simply a reflection of you. Let's start acting like it, okay? Because while limerence can get you down, it can also lift you up once you realize that. And that literally links into the other question, like, how do I get over somebody I haven't dated? Hello? All of that like and love that you are experiencing is coming from you because you haven't even experienced them in their full capacity yet. Everything that you are hurting over and missing over is simply a visualization in your head of what you want, not what that person possesses. It is the idea that you have created of them. So I promise you, it's in your best interest to leave that person behind because you're not missing out on anything. Question number 2. My friends kicked me out the group. I'm alone now. How do I be strong? You become strong in this situation by realizing you dodged a bullet. I know it sucks and it's a horrible situation to be in and to be treated like that and to go through that adversity. But thank God you're finally away from people who did that to you. Imagine they were super nice to your face but spoke so badly behind your back and you went through years and years and years of thinking these people were for you, of spending all of your time with them and not really getting to know any other sort of friends, just to find out it was all ingenuine and fake. now actually it can only get better for you. I know you're at rock bottom. I know that this is really sad. I know this is gonna take some healing, but it can only get better from here. You now have all of the freedom, all of the time, and all of the options. Do you know how magical options are? Your life is gonna change now. It's gonna go through a massive transitional shift. You don't know who's gonna be in your life. You don't know who you're gonna meet. You don't know what conversations or experiences you're gonna have as you are getting to know yourself in your solitude, as you're going out and meeting new people, deciding who you're gonna allow into your life now after having this experience. And you're definitely gonna have higher standards because of it. It's gonna force you to kind of introspect and get to know, what did I put up with that I don't want to put up with in the future? What do I want now? You know, you are thrust into this change that you didn't plan for, but that's where all of the magic and all of the growth happens. If you were comfortable all the time, if nothing ever went wrong, you would never experience these great periods of growth and change in your life, which gives you every single thing that you ever wanted but didn't think you could get. Remember that just because it's bad now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. You are strong because you know you will upgrade and it will get better. And finally, for the relationship dilemmas, how do I set boundaries in practice with my friends and family? By realizing boundaries are not about them, boundaries are about you. Boundaries are not this mean, confrontational, scary place to be where it's like, I'm gonna be, mean and I'm gonna tell them what they can and can't do. You can't control other people's behavior. You have to let them do what they're gonna do because they're gonna do it regardless. All you can do in setting a boundary is communicating, this isn't appropriate. This doesn't make me feel good. I would prefer if you didn't speak to me that way because it makes me feel uncomfortable. If they're gonna do it again, that's absolutely fine, but then that has to follow with you changing your behavior, e.g. you cutting off their access to your life, you distancing yourself, you not telling them certain pieces of information anymore. Because you communicated your boundary, you enforced it, and then they still didn't follow through, and so now there's a consequence. And that consequence is you changing how close you are to them, you changing your relationship with them, not you forcing them to act in a certain way. So it doesn't need to be this big scary thing. And honestly, my book has so much more information on it. I have an entire chapter on it, and I really bounce back into it a lot because it really links in with self-love. My book is called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers. I have like a full dialogue in there, example of how to set a boundary in a way that's polite and, not stressful and super easy for you and the other person involved. And that brings us on to chapter number 2, self-love and healing. Question number 1, I love this. How do I give myself love? I find myself craving that physical affection. Love languages, another thing that I really dove deep into with my book. I think the easiest and most practical way to love yourself is just by giving your love languages back to yourself. So if your love language is quality time, take yourself on a solo date. If your love language is words of affirmation, start writing up affirmations on sticky notes, stick them on your bathroom mirror to see every single morning, or invest in an affirmation deck. If your love language is acts of service, invest in a meal planner or meal delivery service. Start planning your weeks every single Sunday in advance and have a really solid Sunday reset routine. That is your act of self-love because you are meeting that need in your life where everything is organized and everything is set. But like you said, you're really craving that physical affection. This is all about physical touch, the physical experience. Book yourself a massage, go to the spa, get a mani-pedi, do a self-care day at home where you're doing your under eye mask, you're doing a face mask, you're gonna exfoliate your body, invest in a heated blanket, invest in heated slippers. Question number 2, a super common one. How do you actually do the inner work? I actually have a dedicated video on this on my channel and it's in my healing playlist, so definitely go check it out because all of the practical answers and actions will be in there. But for now, I would say, number 1, identify your triggers. And this is where introspection comes into play. You cannot do the inner work if you don't fully know yourself. In fact, this even goes back to boundaries. You can't set a boundary unless you fully know what that boundary is. And the only way to find out what your boundaries are or what your triggers are by taking a step back at the end of the day and thinking, why did I have that reaction by that? What is still playing on my mind that I haven't been able to process? What is an action or a way that someone spoke to me which isn't sitting right with me? And one mistake that I used to make, and so many women especially make, is questioning whether we should even have that feeling, wondering if we're overreacting, wondering if our emotional reaction or our need to set a boundary is justified for their action. It is. If that emotion came up in you, if you are uncomfortable, if you are angered by someone, if you are upset, you are able to set the boundary. You are able to know this is a trigger for me. Regardless if the other person agrees or not, does not matter because you are not living for this person. You are not living their life. Everybody's beliefs, everybody's preferences are so different. So I think take a step back and think, what bothers me? Especially that other people aren't bothered by. That's how you know that they're your personal triggers. Maybe your trigger is the fact that, people aren't loud in the way that they celebrate you when you're going through a good time. Or maybe your trigger is when people don't communicate effectively or consistently in calling you or texting you when you know that you do that for them. Maybe you get triggered by the thought of other people being too vain. Maybe you don't like it when people are on social media and do these certain things and live their life in a certain way, and you learn so much about yourself because of that, because we are only ever triggered because of something that is suppressed and pushed down deeply within ourselves. And once you realize that, you think, why am I annoyed by it? Why does the way that that person live their life, work their job, or dress themselves the way they do bother me so much? It will tell you everything about the way that you may have been rejected, about the beliefs that were pushed onto you that don't necessarily agree with you, and that's where you really start the work. This also really links into shadow work. Shadow work I love by just Googling shadow work prompts. This will tell you a lot about how to heal your inner child, how to work with your past self, what kind of like subconscious beliefs are holding you back, where there are things within you that you can't even fully point out on a day-to-day basis because we've got so many other things going on in front of us. And then linking into subconscious, I love to look into dreams. Your dreams are there because they are trying to process and unpack everything that's going on in your subconscious that day or that week that you didn't consciously decide to work through and unpack yourself. So when you look at your dream, it's not necessarily about the location it was set in, and it's not even necessarily about the person that was in it. Let's say that you've been dreaming about your ex for 7 days straight. That doesn't mean, oh, well, I must clearly miss my ex. It's about what the dream represents. It's about what the ex represents. How were you feeling in the dream? Was it that they gave you closure? Was it that you felt rejected? Was it that you were solving through a problem and it gives you kind of this insight into what you need to solve into your own life, or what you need to give to yourself? I think really analyzing and looking deeply into your dreams and what they can represent about what's missing in your life or what you need to work on is a really powerful way of doing that deep work. Another way to do the inner work is choosing your beliefs and the ones that uplift you and power you up. We have millions of thoughts a day, and they are always out of our control. Our emotional responses as well. Like, we'll have emotions and we'll have thoughts and, we'll overthink at times, and none of it is in our control. But the ones that we pay attention to and give our focus to, that is in our control. So if something is coming into your brain that doesn't benefit you, or maybe represents a previous, more wounded version of you, we're going to replace it with a thought that lifts us up instead, which is, actually, people aren't judging me, or actually, I'm able to do what I want and I will succeed in it no matter what my past mistakes or failures were. That is where you start to reprogram your mind, reprogram your belief system, and the more that you replace negative thoughts with positive ones that actually take you in the direction of the life that you actually want, the more they become a habit, and then they'll stick with you. And then you're not continuing these cycles of thinking in a negative way or putting yourself down simply because that's what you naturally think and that's a force of habit. No, you're gonna actively change that. The next question is, how do you not let go of self-care when life gets too busy? Self-care does not always have to be this dedicated plan, this scheduled like grooming day of face masks and nails and bubble baths. It can be that, but I think that's where self-care falls so inconsistent. We're like, well, I simply don't have time, right? Self-care can be done with your usual schedule of going to work, going to school, taking care of your chores, doing everything on your to-do list, because self-care is also the way that you respond to certain situations. It's the way that you choose to perceive certain things that's going on at work or at school. It's the way that you choose to talk to yourself and think about yourself. Essentially, just making those little shifts throughout the day is you practicing your self-care. It's setting a boundary with someone you've come into contact with at work. It's coming home and making sure your homework is done so you're not stressed out about it later. You are taking care of your needs to make your life easier. But some more examples of really nice self-care rituals that don't take too much time would be doing a shower cleanse in the morning. This is when, you're getting ready, you've stepped into the shower first thing, you are imagining all of the water washing off any negativity or any stagnant energy off you while you are visualizing the day working out in your best favor. This is something I've been doing every single day for a few weeks now. Game changer. It's the biggest, most loving favor I could do for myself, which massively positively influences my day. Another really easy and quick self-care ritual is to listen to high frequency music when you are doing your makeup in the morning or just getting dressed for the day. You can literally go onto Spotify, type in high vibrational music, healing frequency music, and that completely shifts you into a whole other frequency where now your day is going to go a lot better because of it. And finally, for the self-love and care chapter, how do you put yourself first and not let anyone walk all over you? Oh, number one, plan out your days. When I tell you, my days are so meticulously planned, every single hour, time blocked, accounted for. Nobody could even squeeze in to try and take advantage of me or try and walk all over me because I'm busy. I'm at the next place. I got a studio, I got a booking, I got a reservation. I've got no time for this. When you just float through life in passenger princess mode and you're not actually actively taking control of anything and you're not actually in charge of your day and your time and how you want to spend things, of course people are going to come in, they're going to be like, I want to talk to you on the phone now, I'm going to text you now, and then you're finding all of these hours go by scrolling on social media, doing a favor, talking to somebody on the phone. But when I talk about planning your days, I don't just mean like work and your to-do list. I'm talking about living your life. Like I will plan a week in advance. Okay, these are all the hours I'm gonna work. These are the hours I'm gonna spend with my friends. It's on this evening that maybe I'll FaceTime a few people. It's on this day I'll go see my family. It's on this day I'm gonna have a solo day and that's just a me day. Nobody can interrupt that because you have that direction, because you know where you need to be. And you're not gonna do anything that doesn't match that vibe and that interrupts that flow. And aside from that, if people are trying to walk all over you and take advantage of you, just cut them off. You need to be so cutthroat with it. Life is short. We have got no time for entertaining people that are not nice to us, that don't uplift us, that don't serve us, that don't make us feel good at the end of the day. I don't care what their response is going to be. Their response, their emotional reaction is literally none of your business. Do you know what is? Your happiness, your energy, your life. Waking up every single day, making sure your mental health is taken care of, and you are delaying cutting somebody off, and the fact that they're taking advantage of you, walking all over you, because what if it turns into an argument? What if they get upset? What if they spread rumors about me? What if they talk about me? So what? Let them. You have to put yourself first in every single situation. That is a law. And finally, that brings us on to the final chapter of Girl Talk, episode 5, and this is the self-development chapter. And the first question is, how do you be a completely different version of yourself? The answer is so simple: by making different decisions, by waking up and going about your life differently, because you can't get to a completely different version of yourself if you're just still making the same old decisions every single day, with who you allow into your life, with how you speak to people, with how you go about your work, how you procrastinate, how you work, how you dream, how you think, what beliefs you hold about yourself. All of those little things that you experience in a day has to shift. The thoughts, the habits, the way that your time is spent, your relationship with your phone, your relationship with other people. You have to really think about every single thing you're doing in a day and take a step back and think, is it serving me? Is spending an hour on my phone first thing in the morning going to be the thing that gets me to the ideal version of myself and gets me to the ideal life? No? Okay, let's change that. And again, it's not even thinking about it differently, it's actually putting in the work to change the outcome of it. So let's say you want to completely shift into this more productive, successful version of yourself, and a problem that you're experiencing right now is you're not always focused, or you keep procrastinating, and now your goal in this being this new version of yourself is to work harder. Okay, let's put some action to that. Switch up the environment. Go to a cafe to work instead. Listen to a podcast on your morning walk about how to cut out procrastination so that you actually learn these tips, make notes while you're doing it, and then implement that advice. Lock your phone, put it in a drawer, and then try to work. Go online, learn actual working or studying methods to help you do it, e.g. the Pomodoro method. Every shift that you make in your identity and who you are is through your daily decisions and habits that you carry out. And this also links into what you consume. When I was like 16, I left school and I unfollowed every single person I went to school with. So many of them I liked, but I was like, I don't need to know what's going on in your life anymore. I'm not trying to be in this space anymore. And for so many years, I've just followed like creators I look up to or accounts that motivate me. My life has changed. I don't know who's getting married. I don't know who's dating who, and I don't care. None of that information is allowed into my brain. All I ever see is motivational quotes, other people succeeding, other people's businesses. And because that's all I'm ever consuming, now that's all I'm ever thinking about. And if that's all I'm ever thinking about, then that's all I'm ever actioning in my life. And then that's what my life is gonna look like. And that leads us onto the next question. How to have a stronger mind. By realizing all of your experiences shape you and build you up. Stop looking at your adversities and your challenges and the times that you failed as something that breaks you down and makes you weaker or dumber because something didn't go in the way that you wanted it to. It's building you up. That's so much valuable life experience compared to the people that never take the shot, that never try in the first place, that don't even give themselves the chance to fall down and therefore don't get all of the lessons and wisdom that comes with falling down and then teaching yourself how to get up and try again. Another way to have a stronger mind is don't rely on others to tell you who you are, because people are only ever thinking and acting from a way of how they were raised. And if they are not in a place of their life where you want to be, what's the point in listening to them? What's the point in believing what they are telling you about what they simply perceive you as? Their opinions can never be valid because they're just judging you from all they know. And everybody on this planet has a limited perspective because we don't know anything about life. We haven't even lived all of our lives yet. Start deciding who you are and believe it so fearlessly that nobody's opinion, nobody's hate, nobody's judgment could ever break you down. That's how you become strong. Another way to be super strong is rejection therapy and exposure therapy. Both of these things are basically when you are consistently putting yourself in situations where you're rejected, or you're consistently in situations where you are exposed to your fear and what stresses you out and what makes you nervous. Because the more and more you get rejected, or the more and more you are cringy or embarrassed or seen by others in like a negative light, you're essentially numb to it. And then nothing can get in your way anymore. There's nothing to be scared about. You want to set up the business, you're going to do it. You want to post a YouTube video, you're going to do it. There's no such thing as, oh, what if people in my hometown see? Because that bit is gone. You've experienced it. And lastly, I think the most important thing to having a stronger mind is by knowing when it's in your best interest to use logic over emotion. That person's not good for you. Of course you still miss them. Of course you still love them. Of course you still like them. You have all these memories, and this person, you know, they know you more than anybody else, but are they good for you? Are they aligning to the way that you're growing? Do they uplift you or do they hurt you? Doesn't matter how you feel about them, you know that in order to feel better about yourself, in order to attract better people into your life, you have to distance yourself from those no matter how you feel about them. Same goes for a job or opportunities or your lifestyle. Once you can make that distinguishment, and once you can be so disciplined in following your head over your heart, you can be the strongest person out there. And that links into our final question for the self-development chapter. And this is, can you explain the difference between honoring your body's needs and being disciplined? I love this question. I don't think I've ever answered it before. And I love it because I've actually been speaking about this so often in all of my vlogs over on my vlog channel, when I'm like getting out of a slump, or when I'm trying to have a productive like week in my life, but I'm not quite feeling it today. And I need to show myself self-love and self-care by honoring where I'm at and what my energy levels are, while also getting the stuff done on my to-do list so I can show up consistently. Let's say you wake up in the morning, you're super tired. You're gonna honor your body's needs by allowing yourself to sleep in that day, allowing yourself to have the extra rest, or maybe you are gonna wake up at that time, but you're gonna give yourself a super slow morning routine. You can wake up, watch an episode of Netflix, really just ease into your day. Once you've had those 2-3 hours of extra sleep or rest, or just, you know, taking time for yourself, pouring back into your hobbies or talking to your loved ones, rest of the day, to-do list. You're gonna spend less time on the to-do list, but you're still showing up regardless. Let's say you're still tired, but you still gotta work out. You don't have to go to the gym for an hour and do weights and cardio and all of these things. Go outside for a 20-minute walk. You're still showing up and moving your body, but in that energetic capacity that you have for that day. You still need to show up, but just in a lower, easier, gentler capacity, whether that means a few less hours of work, a little bit more rest, a different type of workout. And that brings us to the end of yet another Girl Talk. Guys, we have come so far. Wow, like 5 Girl Talk episodes in 2 years? I think 2 years, like that is insane. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said before, be sure to follow me on my socials so that you can ask a question for the next episode. Please comment down below and let me know what question you liked and what you're gonna take away from this episode, because I always read through your comments and they always influence which videos I bring out, and I'd love to reply to a few as well. So please comment down below. I'm always looking at what you're saying. And then finally, also look in the description, look at the book that I just released, the newsletter that I released, all of these amazing self-development things that I'm literally just releasing all for you guys. And I really hope that you enjoy it. But I will see you guys same time next Friday for a brand new video. Thank you so much for watching another one. If you're here still at the end of the video, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time out of your week to watch my videos, to believe in me, to trust in my content, to spend your valuable time watching me and listening to my words. I hope that this was a valuable use of your time. I hope you gained some sort of valuable insight from this video. That's my goal with every video I put out and every podcast I put out and every TikTok and Instagram post and Snapchat. I hope it inspires you. I hope it uplifts you. I hope it gives you comfort and reassurance. That's all I ever want. So I appreciate you. And with that being said, bye.